Hello fellow Jackets, welcome to another video of Yellowjackets Season 2 finale. The Yellowjackets Season 2 finale ended in a way that nearly no one could have predicted. Here's what happened, how it sets up Season 3, and what it means for the survivors going forward. Yellowjackets Season 2 has been full of surprises and shocking revelations, providing answers to long-held mysteries such as the meaning behind Travis' note to Natalie, the idea that the wilderness is an influential entity, and much more. The finale began with the assumption that one of the adult survivors must die to satiate the wilderness' growing need in the 2021 timeline. However, things didn't necessarily go according to plan. In this video, I break down all that is in the Yellowjackets season finale episode. Just so you know, this video contains spoiler. Travis, in Yellowjackets Season 2. Episode 8, when the girls returned with Javi's body after he drowned, Travis appeared the character who was most devastated. Travis was the one who suffered the greatest loss, while Natalie undoubtedly had her own guilt to soothe for allowing him to pass away. Van persuaded him that his brother's death was a sacrifice made in order to preserve the surviving survivors, and that he should commemorate Javi's sacrifice and death after he made an effort to explain the extent of the harm they were causing to him. Consequently, Travis was moved by this discussion and joined the others in practicing cannibalism. Travis was given his brother's heart by Shauna to consume first, almost as a signal to the rest of the gang that if Travis was comfortable with eating Javi, then they should all be as well. To demonstrate his allegiance to the gang and pay respect to his brother's sacrifice, Travis ate Javi's heart. The incident demonstrated Travis's complete assimilation of the wilderness as a being and his conviction that making these sacrifices was both necessary and advantageous to their survival. He embraced the idea that Javi was a martyr rather than a tragic victim and used this idea to defend eating his brother. Natalie, one of the biggest Yellowjackets Season 2 twists, was that Natalie was the original Antler Queen, not Lottie. It seemed as though the whole series was suggesting and building up to Lottie being the titular leader, but when she would be revealed in her official garb for the first time, it wouldn't have been all that surprising. However, in Yellowjackets Season 2, Lottie decided to step down and give leadership over to Natalie, leaving Shauna somewhat jealous. Looking back, Lottie's insecurities as a leader had been building, as proven by her mall vision earlier on, but no one expected her to pass the buck. Natalie was the person Lottie chose since she thought she was always the favorite of the woods. She emphasized the fact that when she drew the Queen of Hearts, the squad tried to assassinate her but were thwarted by the wilderness. The fact that Natalie was the top hunter was one of the indications that the wilderness was in her favor. Although Lottie was the first to speak with the forest, the survivors all mastered the skill and no longer required her assistance. Another reason Lottie deferred to Natalie would have been that she wasn't as susceptible to the influence of groupthink, which may have made her more of a natural leader than a follower. Walter came up with a complex scheme including police corruption to keep Misty and her companions from being discovered by the authorities. Walter was able to link a significant number of Adam's bank and phone records to Kevin Tan after killing him with phenobarbital. Then, he shot Kevin with Syracuse's gun and offered to have Syracuse assist him in framing Kevin for the killings of Adam and Jessica Roberts by claiming that there was widespread police corruption that Syracuse uncovered and nearly lost his life over. If he didn't comply, all of this information could also be connected to Syracuse, he continued. Walter's plan served a number of important purposes. First of all, it established his loyalty to Misty, which was up for debate for the majority of the season, especially after he contrasted her with Sherlock and himself with Moriarty. The second was that it demonstrated Walter's willingness to commit murder, and the likelihood that he shared his girlfriend's psychotic inclinations. Finally, it made reference to Walter's abilities as a hacker and amateur investigator. It was astonishing how evidence could be changed to point to a completely unrelated person. Shauna was unlucky enough to pick the Queen of Hearts in the 2021 timeline, and it's possible that the group was preparing to kill her. Throughout the climactic scenes of the ritual revisited by the adults and the mask-wearing chase that ensued, the tone oscillated between the group seeing reality and falling prey to the wilderness. While they initially agreed that Lottie wanting to satiate the wilderness was a bad idea, things got more complicated when Van convinced Taysa to call off the crisis squad that was supposed to interrupt the ritual and take Lottie away to safety. Adult Van's looks of hunger during the chase were particularly terrifying, and her calling off the authorities certainly painted her intentions in a negative light. Lottie was wholly ready to sacrifice Shauna, completely taken over by the task of feeding the wilderness. Misty, Natalie, and Taysa, on the other hand, seemed the most conflicted. If Lottie had gotten to Shauna first, she would assuredly be dead, and it was possible the same might go for Van based on how taken she seemed throughout the chase. Whether the others would have done it is questionable, but Shauna was nevertheless in real danger. Lottie got sent away to a mental health facility known as Whitmore in the Yellowjackets Season 2 finale because of her overwhelming belief that the wilderness entity was back and wanted one of the survivors. The rest of the adult survivors didn't take too kindly to Lottie's phenobarbital plan and were understandably concerned for her mental health when she wanted to play out Yellowjackets' sacrificial cannibalism ritual again. Lottie orchestrating the hunt led to the survivors calling a crisis team to come to get her, though it turned out to be too little too late. Lottie will most likely be spending Yellowjackets Season 3 in a mental health facility again. Tessa promised that she and the rest of the survivors would visit Lottie at Whitmore. Still, Lottie remained convinced that Natalie's sacrifice fed the wilderness and that everyone would see the positive results of this. The Yellowjackets Season 2 finale made it clear that the survivors, Van in particular, feel culpability in Lottie's dwindling mental state. The flashbacks to the 1996 timeline, including Misty's coercions, Van's story about the wilderness, and the fact that Lottie never wanted the ritual to be established in the first place pointed to the girls having a hand in enabling Lottie's psychosis and her eventual breakdown as an adult. Coach Ben. The final moments of the Yellowjackets Season 2 finale saw the girls flee as their wilderness home burned to the ground. And only one person wasn't with them, Ben. Ben set the cabin on fire because he was petrified of what the team had become and viewed them as monsters who had been stripped of their humanity. Coach Ben's sanity had been dwindling like the rest of the group. However, he made it clear from the get-go that he won't cross the line into cannibalism and saw a kindred spirit in Natalie. Unfortunately, Natalie rebuffed his attempts to hide out the rest of the winter with him in Javi's cave. Between witnessing Javi's corpse being dissected, realizing that the one person he found a kinship with has gone to the dark side, haunting visions of the life he could have had, and seeing that the team is now sacrificing one another, Ben had finally had enough. He believed that the team was now too far gone to see reason and stop their bloodshed, and they had now become a full-blown cannibal cult capable of extreme violence. For his own safety, he decided to burn their cabin down to stop the madness from going any further and is presumably hiding in Javi's cave. Overview review. The Yellowjackets Season 2 finale set up numerous plot threads for Season 3 and a whole host of new mysteries. First and foremost, the adult survivors will be dealing with the fallout of Natalie's sacrifice and death. Misty seemed inconsolable over her part in the matter, and while Season 3 should see her and Walter in a romantic relationship, she'll be wrestling with something she hasn't before, guilt. Season 3 will also see Natalie in the past as the new leader of the group and her descent into becoming Yellowjackets' Antler Queen. The finale hinted that Shauna is jealous of Natalie becoming the leader, so that's sure to come into play. Adult Lottie's cult will most likely be disbanded now that she's in a mental facility, and she will likely be visited by the sleepwalking afflicted Tessa. Yellowjackets Season 3 could finally see some peace in the Seiki household as the Adam Martin investigation has been taken care of by Walter. However, things are going to heat up considerably in 1996 with the cabin burning down. The teen survivors might find out that Ben lit the match since he's the only one not present, but they'll have to find a new home regardless. Hopefully, they don't find Ben lying low in Javi's hideout, so he can survive another day in Yellowjackets. So there you have it all. What did you think about Yellowjackets Season 2? Share your thoughts in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe for more. I will see you next.